Yo, Mina! I just had an awesome time with one of my friends that I hadn't seen since my honeymoon. And oh my gosh, she is awesome and she's amazing, and I missed her so very much. And we're gonna try and see each other soon before she goes back to San Francisco. And I am making new friends on this new group called Peter Mon's Vloggerinos. I watched this YouTuber called Peter Mon. He is a drama commentary channel, and he's incredibly emphatic and just over the top and crazy with his drama videos, and I love that about him. I love how animated he is and how his takes on certain YouTube drama, if you watch YouTubers or if you watched people like Shane Dawson, Jeffree Star, Trisha Paytas, H3, stuff like that, YouTubers like that. He comments on their current controversies and stuff like that and what they're doing, and he's really informative and he's swayed my opinions on quite a few people in the past, so I enjoy watching his content a lot. I'm so exhausted from working the first time for you know first time since I started my new job. I worked 4 days in a row and I'm so tired. I only had one day off this week, so I'm trying to sit down and film a video today before we go see some friends and eat some Korean food. They're gonna cook for us, so I'm really excited. They are really, really good at cooking Korean food. We're gonna have jjajangmyeon, which is a black bean noodle dish that's really kind of salty, and I'll have to explain the flavor to you later. Because I don't know if I've never tried somebody's homemade jjajangmyeon before. I think I've tried like a bite of it at a Korean restaurant one time when my brother was eating it, but other than that, I don't think I've ever had it. So I'll be really interested to try my first jjajangmyeon. And oh my goodness, so many things are happening. They announced at work that they will be raising the employee base wage at the company to $15 an hour starting at the beginning of the year. I feel like I've been running in circles around. I'm so dyslexic right now because I'm kind of tired, so I'm kind of making some mistakes at work. I'm like, oh no, I don't want to do that. um, I'm really proud of myself for listening to my therapist this week, or this past week. He really helped me dissect the feelings that I was having and the anxieties that I've been having at work. I start to feel anxious when I tell somebody something incorrect, or like I feel like I'm wasting someone's time, or I feel like I'm putting too much of my work onto somebody else. But I just I put like a lot of unnecessary pressure on myself, and like time limits and stuff like that. So I end up getting really, really flustered. And if I say something wrong to somebody, or if I feel like I said something wrong in the wrong way or something, or sometimes I'll say things that I feel like can be misconstrued easily. Like I was telling one of the new hires, oh, don't worry about asking so many questions. Uh, I said, I have no place to say because I ask a whole bunch of unnecessary questions as well. But that kind of comes across as me saying that what they're telling me or asking me is unnecessary, which I didn't intend. I was trying to cheer them up. Oh God. It's so hard for me to try to phrase things properly so that I don't like come across as like patronizing. Like I come across as patronizing a lot. I've realized, and I'm like, oh, no one deserves that. That's not what I wanted. I wanted to cheer her up. I wanted to tell her that it's okay to ask questions. Maybe I should just say that. It's like it's okay to ask questions. You're new, and I'm more than happy to help and answer any question you have. Not deflecting or anything. I don't want to deflect what they had to say, because what they ask is valid and it's okay. It's like, oh, it's okay. You're going to have a bunch of questions when you start off. So I just want them all to know that I just want everybody to know in my life that I come from a place of like, I care so much. I'm trying to rephrase what I say. It's so difficult to listen to what you say and how you say it and the tone that you use. It's so hard. I posted some photos on my Facebook recently and my Instagram, and I wanted to relive some of the great moments of my wedding and their pre-transition. So this was in 2016 that I got married. In 2016, I changed my first name to Koe. I decided to. I've always wanted to change my first name. This was before I became a transgendered man. A transgender man is a person who is born a woman or assigned, what the trans community calls it, is assigned female at birth. And then I take testosterone every week to become more masculine and more manly over time. I'm finding that most people that I just leave at I'm a transgendered man, they assume that I'm a trans woman, because it seems like femininity is a very desired effect, and a lot of people like to be feminine nowadays. And I feel like society doesn't really know about trans men because they kind of blend in a bit because I kind of look like a man and act like one. So it's very kind of rare, seemingly, that we exist. So I'm starting to understand that I need to maybe say something differently if I want to explain what I was before and what I am now. I don't feel like the need to tell a whole bunch of people all the time because, well, it gets cumbersome to talk about because it's like I don't know how to talk about it and I don't know how to approach it. I just say what I've suffered through and how I got there, kind of, but it's kind of a long story. I don't think it's ever as easy as it seems. Like I wanted to be a man and then I transitioned. It didn't happen that way for me, surprisingly. I didn't like grow up thinking I want to be a boy. I want to be a boy. I hate being a girl. It never really happened that way. I was wearing masculine kind of clothes, but they were all just hand-me-downs that I got from a friend. My mother got from a friend of hers. Basically, up until high school, I didn't ever buy clothes or anything like that. And then once I hit high school, like in middle school, I would dress like a boy because I felt like I was afraid of what I saw on the news. I watched the news with my parents a lot, and I was constantly afraid of getting sexually assaulted. So I would dress like a boy in order to try to mentally prevent that in some way. I thought that would stop or deter men from trying to follow me home or something while I rode my bike home or something or walked home from school. So that's what I thought, was, just being me. I was just being scared. Once I hit high school, I joined the color guard at my high school, at Tarpon Springs High School. And there was a moment where I felt very embarrassed. I had short hair and I wasn't very attractive, and I was kind of frumpy looking. And the first football game for the color guard, all the girls had very long, luscious, beautiful hair, and they kind of made fun of girls who didn't have long hair. And there were no boys in the color guard at the time. So when the first football game came, my hair was very wavy and it was kind of out of control. And all the girls had to have their hair uniform. It all had to be slicked back and put up in a what they call a sock bun, which is like a round donut shaped bun on the top of their head, and parted to the left. It was very uniform. We kept that hairstyle for quite a few years. But unfortunately, one of my idols told me, when she saw me, she said, "Do something about that." And she pointed at my hair. And ever since then, I grew my hair out, and I was hyper feminine, and I dressed feminine. I started wearing like underwire bras because the other girls did. I was laughed at for not wearing a bra underneath a sports shirt. It was like a tank top with what they called, on the label at least, it was called a shelf bra. And I thought that was okay to wear without a bra. And I was made fun of in front of the entire class because I didn't wear a bra underneath this tank top with a shelf bra in it, which looking back is kind of silly. So I really forced myself to conform because I wanted to fit in. Because if you didn't fit in, then you were kind of ostracized from the group and by your friends. Like, I viewed them as my friends. I know they're all different types of people now, so I don't hold anything against them. But I just, that's something that influenced me to push toward a feminine side, learning how to use makeup. I had to learn how to use makeup for each of the shows that we did. For a while, I didn't know who I was. And I think that's what kind of led me into a really, really dark place. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know where I was going. I was making $9 an hour, and I felt like I wasn't able to support myself financially. And I didn't have any schooling behind me to back up any career or anything like that. I tried to go to college for one semester. I had passed both of my final exams. I had dropped out of 2 classes, though, out of 4, because of how much work it was. Like, I had no idea how to write a paper. I had no clue. And it was so difficult, like trying to read a syllabus and to follow all the unique individual steps of the, and subsections of the syllabus. And my Comp 1 class just blew me away in the first 2 weeks, and I'm like, nope, I can't do it, and after that first 2 weeks for that Comp 1 class. And then after the end of the first semester, I had my first mental break. Like, I just literally just sat on my floor and started screaming. And I didn't stop. And I didn't know how to stop. I was screaming at the top of my lungs, and I was crying, and I didn't know what to do. And my dad came in and he's like, do you need to go to the hospital? And I nodded while screaming. And I just wanted to die. And I didn't know how to get past that for a long time. I didn't realize that I had been having like hormonal mood swings as well, where I would get suicidal panic attacks. And my hormones were surprisingly contributing to my suicidal thoughts a lot. Because I knew that I didn't want to kill myself. I knew that I didn't want to leave my husband. And I don't ever want to leave my husband. And I knew that I wanted to live and I had a reason to live. But I still felt like I wanted to die almost, maybe 2 weeks out of the month. And then it started to progressively consume more of my time, maybe 3 weeks out of the month. It was just getting so bad, and I didn't know how to deal with it. After I got married to the love of my life, and I was so happy, and I started to have panic attacks shortly before the wedding. I started slipping up with my work. I made my boss extremely upset. I was starting to check out mentally. I was so confused. I didn't know what was going on, and I didn't realize that it was because I felt like I didn't know where I was going or who I was until later. Like, I didn't realize this until after I realized that I could be a trans man. And it was so hard for me to reach that point. I just started having so many panic attacks shortly after my honeymoon. Maybe I got married on the 28th of April in 2016. And then in July, the maybe first 2 weeks of July, I called off every day of work. And I remember going to work and just sobbing to my boss and being like, I have to go. I have to go home. I don't know what's wrong. I have to go. And I felt so bad because he literally held that shop up by himself because it was a small business. And I felt so guilty leaving and pushing all the work on him. And I just didn't know what was going on. I didn't know how to cope with anything. I didn't know how to cope with anything. And I just wanted to be okay. And so I stopped going to work. And I started dissociating a lot. And I didn't know what that was. I just kept complaining to my husband that I felt like I wasn't here and that I wasn't present and that I felt like I was looking through somebody else, through my body or outside of my body. And I almost got into 2 car accidents one day just going to the store around the corner, just one traffic light over. And it freaked me out to the point of not wanting to drive. And then I isolated myself. I started crying. I was crying every day. I couldn't get out of bed. I had to frequently tell my husband to come home from work to hold me because I felt like I wanted to die. I just remember screaming so much and not knowing why. And I tried watching YouTube videos. I tried watching animes to keep myself sane. And I knew it was just not sustainable. And I didn't know what to do. So I started going to a therapist. My current therapist now that I went back to. And talking really helped. It really helped. I was able to start slowly driving to my own doctor's appointments again. That was the first step. Just going outside. I got an emotional support puppy named Shinzu. My little sweetheart. My heart. He saved me. And he forced me to go outside more. And honestly, I'm not really sure how I came to the conclusion. Most of the things in my life kind of come as epiphanies, where like it's like an aha moment or like a light bulb that clicks. And I just felt this like thought enter my head. And I'm like, what if I could be transgender? What if I'm transgender? And I had never thought about it really. I never considered it. And then all of these things from the past that I had just explained, you know, like all the behaviors of like little things. Like I used to like to play with dinosaurs instead of Barbies, and I've liked more masculine things than feminine things. I didn't really like makeup too much or hair too much, despite trying to go to hair school for a year, and I dropped out of hair school. My heart wasn't in it. I think I've just always wanted to be happy and content with myself. And once I started taking testosterone and becoming more masculine looking and feeling, it just made me so happy. It made me realize that everything was going to be okay, that I was becoming who I wanted to be, not what society dictated for me to do. I felt like I was bound to being this mother and having children and having a family and stuff like that. And I didn't want that. I was so scared. I've always been terrified for some reason of getting pregnant. And I don't know why. I'm still terrified to this day. I always felt like I would mess up my kids or something because I'm so mental or something, like because of the way I talk and the words that I use. I felt like I wouldn't raise them properly. So I've always been so scared. And now I'm just realizing that it's okay. And it's okay to not want to have kids. And it's okay to not have kids. And it was hard for me to accept that as well. Because part of me feels like I'm not good enough or like I'm giving up. But so many people can't have children, and so many people don't have children, and that's okay. And I think I can focus on myself instead, and that's okay. I'm really happy with that. I'm really happy that I can spend more time improving myself and doing what I've always wanted to do. I'm glad that I never gave up. And I hope you're glad too. Thank you for never giving up. Thank you for pushing through each day, despite how hard it is for everybody right now. It really is hard out there. I can see it. I can see it and feel the pain of my colleagues. I can see and feel the pain of my friends and their friends. And I want more than anything in the world just for everybody to be happy. So I hope you have an amazing day, and thank you for being you and sticking around and pushing through. And thank you for helping me by watching this video and subscribing. Thank you to all my new friends from Peter Mon's Vloggerinos. Nice to meet you. My name is Koi, or to help you pronounce it, Koe. It's the Japanese word for voice, because I felt like I never really had one. But now I feel like I'm getting there. Alright guys, see ya.